What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Landry Hat podcast, powered by FanSided. I am your host, Zach. You can listen to the Landry Hat wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching this or listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, please, if you could, give us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. On today's episode, once again, like we do every single week, I have the one and only Foots the King. You can find him at Foots the King on YouTube. Always great Cowboys content and talk over there on his platforms. And Foots, before we get started, before we talk about this game, because I'm actually excited now. You know, we were coming off the Cardinals game where we just felt about as down and out as we have all season long. It's been up and down, but that was like, okay, this might be the end of the year. Then we see him play the Raiders, who the Raiders aren't a great team by any means. Now their defense is better than their offense, but they make all these moves, getting guys back healthy, and then boom, they rope us right back in. So first, how are you doing? And then how do you feel about this Cowboys team post that Raiders game?
Zach, I'm feeling good, man. I was thinking about this and Dak said it. So I went on a run yesterday. I'm like, yo, this is a playoff game for the Cowboys this week. And Ceedee said it, Dak said it. I think the focus is there. I think the intensity will be there because if you go back to who Brian Schottenheimer wanted to be with this team, we have not seen them play flat. If anything, you've seen like, okay, schematical things, maybe in a red zone, but flat, you haven't worried about that. So when it comes to like a big game like this, Zach, I feel good. Like you outlined it, and I think I'm running with it. You see the pathway to victory, not only in this game, the next three.
Yeah. It is kind of funny thinking about where this team's at 4, 5, and 1, and how much not hate that Mike McCarthy and Jason Garrett and coaches we've given in the past for having a team like this, but this team really hasn't come out flat. They've just either not been talented enough or schematically on the defensive side of the ball have not been able to figure it out. And me and you have talked about that a ton. Like sometimes you just don't have the horses to play and keep up with some of these teams. And it really showed. But as far as like just being down and out, I don't feel like that team's ever reached that point. They've played bad. They've had bad games, but it's never been for a lack of care or anything like that. They've just gotten beat by the better team. But we're heading into this one, right? And we saw this game week 1. We don't know what teams are week 1 of the NFL season. You never know what you're going to get. And I thought Dallas had a chance to win that game. They should have won that game outside of the Miles Sanders fumble right before the break, the lightning delay. Down in the red zone, and then the Ceedee drops. What did he have? 3 or 4 in that game. That really hurt him down the stretch. What are we in? Week 12, week 11? Like the Eagles have kind of floundered on offense. They've been really good on defense. The defense has won them a lot of games. The offense they've won more in spite of. So before we get started and talking about going back and forth, can you just kind of discuss this Eagles team for people that don't watch a ton of Eagles games, people that just know more about the Cowboys and stuff like that? Like, how has their season gone? Because you see 8-2, and you assume it's been just great. Yeah. It's been great all year.
No, totally. I think that the defense has definitely done the carrying for this team in spots. Now, in the Minnesota game, they scored points and they look clean. The Rams, I want to say they beat the Rams, but the Rams kind of let them off the hook. I feel like, let me check that. But they feel like a team that is a ticking time bomb, right? Because some of the issues that you see on this Philly team is, okay, yes, they have horses, and this is a question really that Philly fans, excuse me if I'm all over the place, I want to make. Yeah, so the Rams should have won that game. I remember that game. But anyway, going back to who Philly's been, the defense is outstanding, right, Zach? Like the defense is what it is. They have guys on every level. Zach Bond, They have the D line that's good, and they added Jalen Phillips. The safeties are good. Makuba is coming into his own. I think you can attack those guys there, but we'll talk about that probably a little bit more. But the true issue right now with them is the offense. You have a guy in AJ Brown who maybe he's not the same player. His separation numbers are down, Zach. So maybe that's an issue. But now the noise is getting loud over there, right? The quarterback play, receivers numbers are down. Saquon's numbers are down. I've always said with this Philly team, the interesting thing is when they can't just line up and mash you and just get 5 a pop. Now it's like, oh, we gotta play roll offense. Oh, we gotta throw the middle of the field. Oh, we have to win in spite of not having a good run game. Well, now, Zach, Lane Johnson's out. Now the interior O-line doesn't look as great. And Jeff Stoutland's a great coach, but, it was Stoutland University. Well, now the O-line is faltering a bit, right? And so the run schemes are hitting the same. And I think that the offense and the schemes are just stale. Like it's the same, oh, we're going to mesh it, RPO stuff. And that's cool 3 years ago when AJ Brown was better, he had more pop. Now you just camp him on the edge. They don't have much motion. They don't have much at snap or pre-snap or all of these motions. They don't move him. I was, talking to a few Philly fans on Twitter, and they're like, well, I think we should start using AJ in the slot and using him. Whoa, you're not allowed to do that because you guys said that Ceedee was a slot merchant. So don't keep him out there. Because right now he's winning on a few routes. He's winning on slant. He's running on a 9-ball, and he's winning on comeback. Well, when teams take that away, things look kind of stagnant. And then not to mention the usage or lack thereof when it comes to Devonta Smith, who I think is a great route runner. I think he does separate well. The quarterback just isn't getting on the ball at a high clip. So I think the teams, we need to be prepared for some shots to kind of quiet the noise, but I don't even know if they'll be able to block it up because of, and I know this is a long-winded answer, Zach, but I don't know if they'll be able to block it up because, oh, by the way, you don't have Lane Johnson. Oh, by the way, your play action isn't effective because you don't run the ball well. Okay. They're down over a yard average-wise, getting hit before contact, and that's Saquon Barkley. So 1.2 yards before he gets hit, and last year it was 2.2 yards. So they're down that. He's averaging 3.9 a carry, one of the lowest averages of his career. I think when he was at the Giants, he had maybe one lower. But the point is, that run game, Zach, is no longer the bailout, but they can play good defense and they can score when they need to. So it's a game where if you can put them away, and people have to remember, Dallas went right down the field and scored on Philly in the first game, then did it again, and the defense didn't play bad. You don't have those drops, you probably win that game. So that's who the Eagles are right now. A bad offense with a really good defense that's probably going to try to get on track versus your defense.
Yeah, their defense is really good. They gave up 9 to the Lions, who have been a high-powered offense for years now. Gave up 7 to the Packers. They've only given up more than 25 points twice this year. Funny enough, it was Jackson Dart and the Giants in early October. And something else funny, I didn't know they've already played the Giants twice. They played the Giants within like 15 days or 16 days of each other. So the Giants put up 20 in one matchup, and then the first one was that 34-17. But it feels like this team is like you said, a ticking time bomb because of the way that they're winning games. I feel like this is only so sustainable where the offense can only puts up 10 and gets a win, or only puts up 16 and gets a win, especially against high-powered offenses like that. And I think as good as the Cowboys are on the outside with George Pickens and Ceedee Lamb, I don't see a world where the Eagles defense is going to be able to hold them to 7 points or
Agreed.
9 points or anything like that. Now, for the Eagles, they have obviously Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis. They traded for Jalen Phillips, who is a nice player. On the outside, Cooper DeJean covering in the slot, and then you have Quinyon Mitchell. I think the guy to go after in this one, and he's probably going to be lined up a lot on Pickens, is going to be Adoree Jackson.
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see who they try to help. Like who are the Eagles more worried about? Are they more worried about CD, or are we going to start seeing teams kind of favor Pickens? Like, let's try to stop him and see if we can figure out something that way. It's going to have to be something that they decide early in the game. We didn't get to see Jalen Carter in week 1 game because he literally one play in after the kickoff got ejected. But I still think there's opportunities. Go back and watch the Giants tape. See what they did. They put up 34 points. That's the most that anybody's scored on the Eagles this year. And then whatever the Packers and Lions did, do not do that. But I just think on the outside, I think there'll be a little bit of running room, but I wouldn't rely on it. Get the ball to 88, get the ball to 3, and then take your deep shots and really kind of turn this thing into a track meet, because it feels like that's when Dallas is at their best.
And if you look at the weapons for the so a few things, let's pick apart the Lions and the Packers game. So Packers offense has been sputtering. And that's obviously we made them look great early on. Our defense I don't think our defense is great right now, but it's better for sure. But okay, you look at the Packers, they don't have true weapons. I don't even think they have a number 2. They have a team of number 2s, but Watson, Dobbs, those guys are just guys. So Philly wasn't scared of that. And then you look at the Lions O-line is reeling, and Dan Campbell calling plays was kind of quirky. And Jared Goff, they had like 9 batted footballs. So Jared Goff, 1, 2, 3, ball out. Eagles D-line just said, okay, we know what he wants to do, get the ball out of his hands quick. We're just going to stick our hands up every time. And they time those batted footballs, and those are no gains. You know what I mean? So some of that stuff was crazy. To me, with Jackson Dart, what I saw was they took shots. He stepped up in the pocket. He ran a little bit. They ran the ball with Cam Scatterbo. So I think that, and they don't have great weapons, but the plan of attack was a lot different, right? And to be honest with you, the Giants D-line, I don't think their defense is great, but the Giants D-line got after that Philly offense, and that offense sputtered, right? Like, that was an embarrassing loss. And you could look at that game, and I'm with you. If Dallas just carbon copies that game, because I think that, I'll tell you this, I think there's a world where Dallas can actually run the ball on these guys. They did it week 1. Now, I get it. Jalen Carter wasn't there, but there will be running lanes to be had. They don't do much with their fronts. They play that 4-man front. They kind of just show you who they are. This will be a Clayton Adams matchup, but you said it right there, Zach. To me, look at that carbon copy. You have much better weapons than the Lions. I mean, excuse me. Well, I think you have better weapons than the Lions and the Giants, especially on the edge. They can't run with George Pickens and C. So, I mean, I would base my scheme off that. If they're going to play with those 2 safeties high, run the ball, chip away at the run game, and I think that Dallas will do that. I think that our O-line is starting to gel, okay? You talk about Cooper Beebe. You talk about Tyler Booker, who's been consistent, right? Tyler Smith, you haven't seen all-pro play, but, I mean, he's Tyler Smith, right? These guys need to go out there and take this win, and I think that they can.
I think most people are probably pretty confident in the Cowboys offense. Like, I think we think that they can put up some points. They haven't been perfect this year by any stretch, but they've proven that they got firepower, that they can run the football with Javonte. And even when they can't do that, the two weapons on the outside are just too much for most defenses to keep up with. But what most people are going to go into this game wondering is, how much does your defense give up?
Yeah.
How much is the Cowboys defense going to give up to a sputtering Lions offense, just based on how they've made just about every quarterback look this year, even offenses that weren't very good? What do you think is the best way to attack the Eagles offense, like for the Cowboys? I said, I'll quickly give mine, is just get Hurts into 3rd and long situations. He doesn't want to throw the ball down the field. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith have not been the same players. So if you can stop the run, which Barkley hasn't been very good this year, if you could stop the run and force them into 3rd and long and on an offense, score a bunch of points, get them into obvious passing situations where they're just consistently having to drop back to keep up, that is where you put way too much pressure on an Eagles offense that hasn't been good.
No, I completely agree. And the pressure part of it, right? Let's be honest, something isn't right with that Eagles team. Like Dallas, so much craziness happens with this team that they're used to, that the Cowboys are used to mess. They're used to stuff happening, right? For sure. So the Cowboys aren't living in this world where like Dak is used to being criticized. You hear him at the podium, you heard him yesterday. He's laughing. Oh, I'm ready for this game. I think Dak will be loose the rest of the way, especially with knowing what he has out there. But to me, when you look at the Eagles, for them to have won as much as they are and they're still strife, it's a ticking time bomb, bro. And it's not going to be good. And it's not going to be. And you can tell that Patullo and this front office, well, excuse me, and this coaching staff doing things like forcing AJ Brown the ball also isn't smart because it sends a message like, okay, yeah, let's give our disgruntled crybaby receiver the ball more, but we're not really playing offense. Like the Cowboys offense is you pick your poison. If you want to play light boxes, you're going to get Javonte. If you want to roll covers to CD, you're going to get Pick, and then vice versa. If you want to do all those things and forget about Ferg or forget about, I like the little chess piece that they use with Hunter Lipke. Like that's offense. You pick your poison and you'll get what we give you. Not we're just going to force the ball for the sake of. I honestly thought the Cowboys did that a little bit too much early on with CD. And they're finally starting to get to the point where it's like, if you guys are going to show us that you're not going to guard Pickens a certain way, then you guys are going to get picked.
Underdog is your place to get in on all of the NFL action. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like passing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and more. Nail every entry and you can win up to 5,000 times your pick. The Cowboys are in action this Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles in one of the marquee matchups of the week. Dak Prescott should have to throw a lot in this one, so I'm looking at Prescott for over 23.5 completions. He completed 21 passes in week 1 against the Eagles, and Ceedee Lamb dropped 3 passes. Dak should have at least completed 25 passes in that game. Speaking of Ceedee Lamb, I'm looking at him for higher than 6.5 catches. I really think Lamb has a big day. There's a lot of chatter right now about George Pickens being the better wide receiver after his big day against the Raiders, and I think Lamb will be out to make a statement in a game that will have a lot of eyes on it. On the Eagles side, I'm looking at Jalen Hurts for lower than 18.5 completions. Look, I get the Cowboys defense isn't great, but it showed real improvement on Monday night, and Hurts has only gone higher than that mark once in the last 4 games and just 5 times all season. Download the app today, sign up with promo code Landry to score $100 in bonus funds or bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code Landry. Underdog, make picks, win money.
A really big note for the Eagles offense too, and this is going to hurt, is Lane Johnson's going to be out for this game. I know it's listed as doubtful on ESPN, but he's got a Liz Frank injury. For most people, I think that's like a season-ending injury. It says 4 to 6 weeks, and he might be back. He's not going to be in for this game. I can't remember the last time the Cowboys have played the Eagles without Lane Johnson in the lineup. And then Cam Jurgens might miss the game. I don't know when he suffered that concussion. But it seems like when guys have had concussions this year, it takes a game after for them to get back on the field.
The NFL wants them to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just been, do you know when Jurgens had his concussion or anything?
I don't know if he played last game. I did see him on the injury report, so we'll see.
But that would be huge if the Cowboys are, I mean, the Cowboys, if the Eagles are missing 2 offensive linemen on an offensive line that hasn't been that great this year, the Cowboys might have even more opportunities to get after Hurts. The last time Hurts had like 8 or so carries for like 60, 70 yards. Like he was constantly keeping plays alive. Don't let him get 7 or 8 or 9 yards here and then tush push, and then 7 or 8 yards here and tush push. He wants to throw it to the tight end. He wants to keep everything underneath and, bottle up the run game. And if Jalen Hurts beats you because he has a 400-yard game, more power to him. Like that's
passing,
that's how I would, with him throwing the football, that's how I would be like, okay, good game, and move on.
Yeah, if Hurts beats you as a passer, you shake his hand and say, all right, it is what it is. But he just hasn't done that. I don't think he's thrown for 300 once this year. Yeah. So I don't think that he's even done that. So I don't see that happening.
I don't either, and I'm actually really, really excited about this game. This starts the really tough stretch that the Cowboys have coming up with some of these teams. They play the Lions and the Chargers and the Eagles, but the NFL has been extra weird this year, like with how teams are playing. Like we say, oh, the Chargers got blown out by the Jags, like,
Mhm.
and the Jags got beat by the Browns or somebody. Like it's been all over the place. I think Dallas wins this game if they don't just hurt themselves throughout it. I'm really, really excited. Foots, do you have any closing thoughts about this Cowboys Eagles game? Final score prediction?
I went 31-28 Dallas on another show that I was on, so I'm gonna just keep that vibe. But I just for some reason I just feel good about this game. I just feel good about it, Zach. I mean, these two teams know each other. I want to see the corners. I want to see Bland play good football again. I want to see him get his leg back from those guys, and maybe Bland gets a pick six. He gets a pick. I jump a play. You know what routes you're gonna get. I want to see him play good football. Hurts he hasn't thrown many interceptions this year. He's kind of protecting the ball. That's also an issue. He's not going to throw the ball in a tight window. So I feel good, man. I feel great, Zach.
Funny enough, my score prediction was 31-27.
Okay.
I think if Dallas can control the tempo, control the pace of the game, the defense just needs to string together enough stops, and the offense can put up points. I feel better about this potentially being a Cowboys blowout. Cowboys win big than the Eagles win big, because that's the game that Dallas really likes to play, and most teams are not going to be able to keep up with that style of football. So that's going to conclude today's episode. Thank you guys so much again for listening to the Landry Hat podcast. If you enjoyed, head down there, give us a rating on iTunes, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get your episodes, and here on YouTube, if you're watching our beautiful faces, talk Cowboys for hours on end. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Peace.